So I discovered Tolkien right about 2008. I was about 8 years old, and I saw the original Lord of the Rings movie trilogy for the first time and absolutely fell in love with them. And immediately thereafter got all the books, The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, on audiobook, listened to them incessantly over the next few years. But it wasn't until I was about 12 where I read all the books, and I've read them about every other year since then, just completely immersed in this world, in this universe of Tolkien, and never looked back. Primary thing that I love is that the hobbits are the main character. It's very non-traditional. We love our big strong heroes like Aragorn, but it's the hobbits that really exemplify these fantasy stories, because the hobbits aren't about the strength of their arm, about the might of their warrior prowess. It's all about the strength of character, and I think that's something that's highly relevant today. But it's how good of a person you are, how pure your soul is, which determines what level of a hero you truly are in a universe like this. And I think that's a very powerful statement, and something that we all have control over. We all have control over what type of person we are, if we're good or not, and we can be heroes in our own rights. And we're not constrained by anything around us, whether it be size, in the Hobbit's case, strength, or opportunity. It's all about how we choose to live, and the hobbits just exemplify that so much. And I love how he chose these small, unassuming creatures to be the main characters of this broad, sweeping fantasy universe. So, as someone who tries to avoid the concept of destiny in my own writings, the one who stood out the most is the one who had the least destiny, the one who was not fated to be a king. He was not fated to do anything great, but he still chose to be, and that is Samwise Gamgee. He still had such a vibrant impact on the world and was essential into destroying the ring, but he wasn't Frodo. He wasn't destined to be a ring bearer. He wasn't Aragorn destined to be king. He chose his own path and his own destiny, and saved the entire of Middle Earth. And I think that's a very powerful story that again shows how it's our choices that make us into good people, and how we can be heroes is by our own choices, just like Samwise Gamgee. I feel like each of these adaptations that have happened of Tolkien are accurate in their own right, and I can't really say one is above the other, because they all carry the spirit of Tolkien. And I think that's the most important thing in an adaptation, is the spirit, and made by fans who actually care and were motivated by the right reasons. So the Jackson trilogy, I feel, is a highly accurate adaptation in a lot of ways, even though they got a few facts wrong and out of necessity. And the old animated films, they all just had their own sense. But my personal favorite is the BBC audio dramas. I love those. I've always been a big audio listener, so that is my personal favorite. But I think they are all very good at being adaptations, so there's not one that I could really place above any other. It's an absolute travesty that Tolkien's name is in any way associated with the abomination that the Rings of Power is going to be. It shares nothing in common with this universe besides a couple names. None of the story, none of the heart, none of the characters, and none of the emotional relevance or even allegories and metaphors are being put across. So it's no way Tolkien, and it's a complete bastardization and insult to the man to compare the two. It's a completely different fantasy universe. I wouldn't want to associate the name Tolkien with George R.R. Martin in any more than I would want to do it associated with Rings of Power. They're just so vastly different, and the fact that Rings of Power is weaponizing the name of Tolkien against fans to excuse all the heinous decisions that they're making with this canon is just horrific to me, and is really a sign of how abysmal the soul of Hollywood and television these days, how corrupt they are. And I can't imagine what type of place someone has to be in to make decisions like that and just spit in the face of the professor, one of the wisest men to ever live.
Has ever. This is Salty Texas C. I am Corey DB. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you've seen and heard, please hit that thumbs up button. If you haven't subscribed, I'd love to have you on board. That way you know, and we have things like live streams, which we are going to be doing every Tuesday evening. Take care. I hope you're having a great 2022.